Hi, and welcome to this week's lesson. I will teach you two new phrasal verbs you need to know. Leave behind and walk out on. Let's say those in the past tense. Leave behind, left behind, walk out on, walked out on. So this is the T pronunciation, not walked, walked. And this one is irregular, so left. Walked out on, left behind. Oftentimes we use these in both present and past tense. So what does it mean to walk out on something? Well, if maybe a couple, could be a husband-wife, a boyfriend-girlfriend, any kind of couple together, they get in an argument, one might walk out on the other one. They might leave the house, they might leave the apartment. They say, I'm so angry, I need to walk out on you. So they walk out and they leave, maybe to think about something. This can also be used in a negative sense where a family member walks out on the rest of the family. Maybe a spouse leaves the other spouse at home and the children are just with the one parent because the one spouse left behind the kids and they walked out on the family. And that happens sometimes and it's very sad. But that would be a situation where you use it. You can also walk out on family in that situation would be the noun that you can use. You can see I have common nouns that we use in English with the verbs. They might walk out on their family. Somebody might walk out on a company. Like maybe they've worked hard for a company for a while and they're like, I'm just not feeling it anymore. Or maybe they just, things didn't work out at the company. So maybe they quit. To quit a job or quit a company would be to walk out on the company, and that means to quit something. And that would be your definition for walk out on. So a sentence would be, he walked out on the company because of their treatment of employees was not good. Something like that. I hope you don't work for a company like that. I work for a great company right now where they treat you well. So I don't want to walk out on the company. There's also a student. Maybe the student walks out on the teacher. Maybe a teacher is in front of a classroom teaching, or they're teaching in a setting, and the student, or students, plural, maybe they walk out on a teacher. And the teacher's like, uh-oh, what happened? That may not be common in your country. It can happen in American culture. Often more in universities and colleges, students will walk out on the teachers. And I think it's sometimes quite rude, but it does happen. Other times, students, like for a protest or something, they'll walk out on the school to do a demonstration, which sometimes you'll see happens. Not always, though, but that you can say that. It's anybody, it doesn't have to be a student. I've been a student of many things, but walk out on is to leave the situation that you were in and go somewhere else. Okay, so you can walk out on something, or it can mean like to quit that situation. Or you could say the movie was so bad. My wife and I brought our children to watch the movie. By the way, that's American English. Very rarely in America do we say cinema. British English, you will hear cinema. We went to the cinema. Or theater is another word we use. The movie theater. You'll hear those two nouns put together. Movie then is an adjective, and we'll say the movie theater. We went to the movie theater to watch the new Avengers movie. Or we went to the movie theater and we watched this movie, but it was terrible. We didn't like the movie. So my family and I walked out on the bad movie. So if there's a movie you're watching and it's awful and you paid money for it, but you're like, I just can't sit through this movie, you might want to walk out on that movie. And so I've only walked out on maybe 2 movies that I've been to at a theater. It's not very common, but you can use it in that situation. Okay? So that's walk out on. Listen and say, walk out on, walked out on. Good job. Okay, that next phrasal verb is leave behind. Left behind. And you might say this, oh, I left behind my old job and I started a new job. Or I left behind my keys at the house. I forgot my keys at the house. I left them behind. Or I left something behind in a room. I left my pencil in the room. I left my wallet behind in the room. And we'll use the past tense, left behind. I left behind my notebook in the room. So it can be something you leave behind in the room. Or my lunch. I left behind my lunch in the room and someone else ate my lunch. Okay, that could happen. Not always, but it can. I left behind money and somebody took my money. Okay. Or you can say I left behind money for someone else, right? This time of year, like coming up into the end of November and December, people think about giving gifts, and they might do that. They'll leave behind money for other people to get. That can happen sometimes. Maybe at stores, you'll see people leaving money behind for different things. But usually that's the other phrasal verb I taught you in another video, give out. They give out gifts. But that would be awesome if someone left behind money for you to get, right? Okay, so those are your phrasal verbs for this week. Walk out on, walked out on, leave behind, left behind. To play these cards and practice them, you can get my Phrase It cards. Click below. You can buy them on Amazon. You can also get my Phrase It nouns that come with these. So I have verbs and nouns in a package, and it looks like this. They both have the verbs and nouns. The red and blue cards are in this, as well as you can buy just some other red cards, more red cards too. So I have two different decks you can buy on Amazon, 2 different card sets that help you practice your English as flashcards or as a fun game. And you can also watch my other videos here on YouTube to learn how to play Phrase It. Okay, if you have any questions, comment below. Make your own sentence. Name something you left behind. Name someone or something you walked out on in the comments below. And I'll try to help you as best as I can. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a future lesson. Subscribe and share. Bye, Phrase It.